Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Stephanie Domerat. Now, Washington voters are filling out ballots right now, and this year comes with new wrinkles, changes in USPS processing, renewed national attacks on vote by mail, and an uptick in misinformation, including AI. Tonight, what's true, what's noise, and what you should do to make sure your ballot and your vote counts. Joining us to discuss this election is Washington Secretary of State Steve Hobbs. Hobbs is Washington's 16th Secretary of State, elected back in 2022. Before being appointed to the position, Hobbs served as the state senator for District 44. Hobbs is also an Army veteran, having served in Kosovo and Iraq. Secretary Hobbs, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And I just want to take the time with your viewers. I apologize. I'm in a flannel shirt today, only because I'm actually on military duty in the Washington Army National Guard. I usually have an emergency suit available, but I forgot it. But I'm going flannel. This is the Pacific Northwest
Yeah.
wear. This is to make you feel comfortable.
There we go. People love the flannel. Thank you so
Well,
much, Secretary. Okay, well,
yes.
first, the Postal Service made changes to mail processing and postmarking this year. So what should Washington voters do right now to make sure that their ballot counts, especially if they were planning to mail it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because the changes that happened in the U.S. Postal Service, we are asking the voters out there to actually put their ballot in the drop box at this particular time. There's just not that many days left, and there's a risk that it may not go to the processing center to get that postmark on it. So if you have your ballot right now, put it in a drop box. I'm going to do that this weekend. So that's my recommendation to the voters out there.
So typically you could get it postmarked day of Election Day and it would be okay. But in this case, it could end up being the next day. So just to make sure for voters to get those ballots to the box office or the drop box is instead, right?
Right. The other thing you could do if you want to go to the US Postal Service, you can, but you're going to have to make sure that it's postmarked. The only way really to do that you'll be sure of is to actually go to your postal office, and they can stamp it right there, but you have to ask them.
Okay, thank you. Well, President Trump said in August that he wants to eliminate mail-in voting, calling it vulnerable to fraud. How secure are Washington's mail system and ballots right now, and what evidence do you point to about this?
Well, I mean, first of all, let me just address that. Trump saying that it's susceptible to fraud. I mean, he's a mail-in voter, so I hope that's not the case with his vote that he's doing. But here in Washington State, it is very secure. There's a lot of processes in place. We track the ballot going out and coming back in. We have audits that happen all the time. And if the viewers that don't believe all that, you can actually go down to your county auditor and see the process for yourself. Look at it, see it with your own eyes if you don't believe me.
What specific steps has Washington taken to address some people's concerns around mail-in voting? I know you said you could go down to your county office, but what are some other things
Right.
that your office has done?
So this is stuff that has been around not just since I've taken office, but before. But we've done such a bad job of letting the voters know the process. So, for example, we're part of a database system. So if you were to move to another state, we would know about it. If you voted in the same election twice, we would know about it. We actually cache those. Also, signatures as well. When sometimes you have people who sign for other people in the family, usually it's maybe a mom or a dad that's signing for their kid because their kid forgot to sign the ballot. We catch that, and that's why it's important that you sign your own ballot and then, of course, put it in the drop box. If it's close to the election.
Yeah, signature matching, that's an important one, right? You've talked about that
Oh,
too.
absolutely. Yeah, and sometimes the signatures don't match, and you'll be notified, and you're going to have to cure what we call curing the ballot, with signing another form.
So this is the first general election that we've seen since the renewed national push to criticize mail-in voting. What do you want Washington voters to keep in mind as they return their ballots this week?
Well, first of all, if you have any questions, ask. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't take your information from social media. If you have any questions, reach out to your county auditor, reach out to the Secretary of State's office if you want, or just go down to your county auditor, check out the election center and see it with your own eyes. But there are a lot of procedures in place. There's audits that happen before and after, and don't go into this thinking there's secrets on how we do elections. You can actually find it out for yourself.
What do you see as the biggest threat to election integrity right now?
I believe the biggest threat to election integrity is the doubt that some people have about our elections. And so that's why I stress over and over again, if you have any questions, just ask. I mean, all these things that we have already in process, like being part of ERIC, the Electronic Registration Information Center, or that we check every signature, or that we know when people pass away. These we kind of kept to ourselves because we took the process for granted. And that's why I think it's important that the voters know about this. And that's why our office over the last couple of years have changed the message. We've been really good about telling you when to vote, not very good about telling you the process. And we are changing that with, we've got a Mark the Ballot campaign with a cartoon character telling you the process. And so, look, again, if you have any questions, give us a call, give your county auditor a call.
Since being in office, I know you've called attention to the power of misinformation, really warning people about this, also AI in elections. What would you want people to keep in mind and know about that?
I would keep in mind that there's a lot of mis and disinformation that's out there. And also, we are dealing with nation state actors that purposely put out mis and disinformation. And so we talk about the SIFT method, and basically that's an acronym, SIFT. So stop, right? Just pause for a moment when you see something on social media. Investigate the source. Do you even know who this person is that's posting this? Find better coverage. Go check out the other news media, see if they're talking about it, and trace to their original content. So read it, see what they're talking about. Don't repost things right away. And again, if you have any questions, we're just a phone call away. Not just me, the Secretary of State. And if you don't trust me because I'm a Democrat, go contact a Republican county auditor, and they'll tell you how the elections are being ran. We know we're a team in Washington State, Republicans, Democrats, and we're just trying to have a good, transparent, secure election.
Last year, we saw ballot drop boxes that were set on fire in Vancouver. They destroyed hundreds of ballots. What came out of those investigations that you know of, and what's being done since to avoid that from happening again?
Right. So now we are providing funding to the counties. I mean, we've always had, but now we're allowing the counties to do more with their funding in terms of the ballot boxes. And so not all the counties have this, but some counties have now started to use the funding to put sensors on their drop boxes. So if a drop box is moved or another explosive device is put in there, the county auditor will know about it and be able to react to it immediately. Also, we found that we had a really good response time when the ballot boxes blew up in Clark County. We were able to reach out to a lot of people so they could print out new ballots and to get their votes counted. And so we did learn a lot from that. Unfortunately, we still don't know who it is, but we are prepared if it happens again.
So the Justice Department announced last week it's sending election monitors to select jurisdictions in California and New Jersey for what they're calling ballot security. I wonder, what are your thoughts around that move?
I mean, it's an intrusion. Having the federal government going into another state and actually being there in the process of the elections being counted. But look, we want to work with our federal partners on transparent, secure elections, and we are prepared to do that. But again, we have a really good system in place here in Washington State. In fact, all the states really have good systems. It's just a little different depending on what state you go to. But yeah, it's disconcerting that the federal government is talking about sending people in to actually investigate, like be right there. But you know what? The way I see it is, it's another set of eyes. They can observe the election, and we'll have other citizens there who are observing the election as well.
So research shows that threats and harassment of election workers spike around election season and the time around elections. So what are you seeing in Washington right now? Have you seen anything like that?
Not yet, not during this election, but usually in the even years that does happen. Look, the election is going to be tomorrow, and usually the anger and anxiety happens after the election when we're counting the votes. And it is true that some of our election workers and our auditors get threatened. That's why in our state we passed a Class C felony if people are getting harassed. And look, don't get mad at the auditor for doing their job. If you have a problem, and I know I've beaten a dead horse because I talk about this all the time, just call your auditor. just call the Secretary of State's office. We can tell you what's going on. You can see this with your own eyes. Don't blast the auditor because you don't know what's going on in elections. You can see for yourself, and we're more than happy to give you the information.
Well, good news, you haven't seen any of that this election cycle.
No, no, not this time. But again, the federal elections will be, in the even years, and that's next year. So we are very concerned about that. We're concerned about nation state actors because clearly, Russia, China, extremist groups do sometimes try to put influencing operations in these elections with you know, mis and disinformation, especially the Russians. And so we are prepared for that and cyber attacks as well. So we get constant cyber attacks and we are prepared to defend them.
For anyone who hasn't voted yet or isn't registered to vote, I know in the odd years the turnout is lower. What would you like people to know who maybe are last minute registering, or what those deadlines would be if they'd like to jump into action now to have their votes count?
Hey, if you want to get your vote counted, then you need to fill out your ballot right now and put it in the Dropbox. And look, if you're not registered, you can go to your county auditor, register, and vote the same day. But you actually got to go to the auditor's office. And let me just stress this to all the people out there, because yes, it's always low turnout during these election years on odd years, but really, it's the most important election because they're dealing with your city council, your mayor, a school board, a drainage district commissioner, a sewage district commissioner. These people affect your lives directly. Don't just leave it to chance on who's going to get elected. You need to take responsibility and vote and make your choices known.
Washington Secretary of State Steve Hobbs, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much.